Tippu Tip. A lot of people don't know about him, but this is a part of history that people have to know about. You know what I'm saying? We aren't really taught about him in school in America. We don't really learn about the East African slave trade. A lot of people never even knew that there was the East African slave trade. We're pretty much taught about the Atlantic slave trade or the triangular slave trade, in the slave trade on the western coast of Africa. Because we have to remember, um, these countries right here, United Kingdom, France, Spain, and the Portuguese, they were major players in the Atlantic slave trade. Countries, like India, countries on the Arabian Peninsula, and countries on the east coast of Africa were major players in this Indian Ocean slave trade. So that's just a thing to remember. We're not really taught about the Indian Ocean slave trade. So you really wouldn't learn about a guy like Tippu Tip, who was an African slave trader. We pretty much learn about how white people were the slave traders and how they were the best ones at enslaving or the most heinous ones, or they did the most crimes against the Africans. But we don't really learn about other Africans doing crime to the Africans as well. That's the thing that we don't learn on the under the system of white supremacy, and that's what I pretty much wanted to get at with this video. Tippu Tip, he was an African slave trader, and this is a part of history that we have to learn because it puts things into perspective going forward. I was telling my man one of the dangers of white supremacy, or one of the key things that white supremacy does that we don't even think about, is that they're going to make themselves look the worst and they're going to make themselves look the best because they want to be the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega, the end all and the be all. They want to be the baddest on the block, and they also want to be the most righteous. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, that's a key of white supremacy. So they're going to use anything they can to deceive you, and they're going to tell half truths. So they're going to teach you about the Atlantic slave trade, but they're not going to say too much about the Indian Ocean slave trade, even though they were still players in it. So you have to really put things into perspective and learn multiple sides of history and things like that. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because it really puts things into perspective going forward. And you really don't learn about African slave traders or um, Arabian slave traders. And these were people that were so called black. These were people that were so called people of color, people that had melanin, whatever you want to say. And that's another thing that I wanted to tell people, that I tell people in my life, my friends, my family, is that under the system of white supremacy, they're not going to tell you about Africans or black people that were badder than them, because they want to be the worst. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the baddest. They want to go down in history as the worst and the best. You know, it sounds crazy, but that's what it really is. So I want to do this video about Tippu Tip. He was an African slave trader from a long line of wealthy Arabs. He was born on the African continent, but he was born in Zanzibar. And this is also very important when you get into the reasons why he was a participant in this slave trade. He was born on the coast of Africa. He really didn't venture off into the mainlands of Africa or the continent of Africa because he was Arabian. His people were from Arabia, but they just set up ports and they set up homes on the coast of Africa away from the mainland. So he had a great disconnect with his people. And I'm gonna get into that with a couple of later videos on the subject. But yeah, this is the first video of the subject of Tippu Tip. Before I make the second video, before the other videos, you can research him a little bit, feel free. But I just wanted to make this video because a lot of people aren't really talking about him as it relates to slavery. And I wanted to make it known that he was a black man, as you can see from this picture. He was a black man. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that. With some more videos coming soon, man. Yeah, first video on my channel.